Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. Man. I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Welcome to episode 708 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast. The show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small. From the NAIA to the NCAA, we share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs in the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-host, Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to KSWH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer. That's multi-Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper. In the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. We also have A.D. Drew, along with David L. Rhodes, making a special appearance. Something must be going on right with the world. We got none other than David Rhodes. And I heard somewhere that y'all won a game, a FCS Division I game, a conference game against what now people considering your rival. But it was an OT thrillers. Coach said some folks left. But that's all he needed was those that stayed, which included David L. Rhodes. And he said parting shots. And I love this because the way you and Josh Sr. made me realize that there's some seriousness in terms of that rivalry in North Carolina. Like y'all like to say the school down the highway or the other one down the road, those kind of things. He said, let's go kick some North Carolina Central ass. I don't even talk like that, but I like that, coach. Fired up. Let's go. That's the big way. Everybody got a game ball. That's how you enter in streak. Since I don't have the cigars, I'm going to go straight to you, Dave. How does it feel?
Oh, my goodness, man. Like, I think it's surreal. Like
Charles smoked them all.
He probably did. He probably did, and that's fine. I will say this. It's been a long time since we've won a Division I home game. Wow. And it's been a while since we've won a Division I game, period, right? It was Norfolk State in September of 2023. So it was a big deal. And the fact that this was Sean Gibbs' first home game as the head coach, to get his first win here and his first conference win here is amazing, to say the least. The previous guy didn't get a conference win. He was able to knock it out in his first try. So I think this is awesome for him. This is great for the program. We were down to our seventh quarterback. A lot of folks don't realize we were down. Yeah, we lost our starting quarterback after halftime. Hampton launched on our starting quarterback, took him out. Player got ejected. And coming into the second half, we were playing our final quarterback, which was Noah Sanders, coming into the second half.
Wow.
So for him to pull that off, we were down 10 points with a minute left. So for him to pull that off, get the onside kick the field goal to tie, go into double overtime and close it out, amazing game. Amazing game.
One for the record books.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you breaking it down. That's a lot of good information and excitement, deservedly so. And a lot of people obviously don't have the package with the Colonial Athletic Association.
It was free last night.
Athletic Association, but a lot of people are watching on the tickets. So the detail you provided is really good for those that didn't necessarily get to read the details.
So what happened last night, the game was actually considered the Flow Sports Game of the Week. So it was free on YouTube last night.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, from what I understand, they turned the feed off when overtime started, but that's a whole different discussion point. I haven't checked the feed to see.
Get it wrong. Oh Lord.
Nah, it was hilarious. Like I got a message saying, "Hey, they stopped it."
And give some updates. How you feeling, Charles?
I'm feeling. It's been a long weekend.
Yeah, man. You go hard in the paint with y'all Jackson folks, man. Y'all treat folks really well down there. Y'all understand the definition of hospitality, HBCU, swag love, and y'all certainly make true to your word. You come to Jackson, hospitality is nice. So I appreciate you, and tell all the folks down there. Let me give a shout out to Ashley Robinson. I got to do the first road series of the HBCU lecture series on Friday, and he literally rolled out. They had red out, so I'm gonna go ahead and say red carpet. I think it was the blue carpet as well, because he did a great job, amazing job. I have to personally call him. Cards, thank you. Set up, driver, taking you to the hotel, and all kinds of stuff. So he is a class. He's a class act. Really good talk with the commissioner as well from the conference. Got a chance to talk to Reginald Ruffin in terms of the AD, Director of Athletics at Tuskegee. So it was really good, really good. Mike,
Doc,
how you doing?
Doc, I wanted to say real quick that Mississippi is known as the hospitality state. So I echo your sentiments in regards to Jackson State rolling out the red carpet. And for me, just very grateful to be a part of a weekend like this with regards to the HBCU symposium, as well as just being in this space. I don't take it for granted, that we are fortunate enough to be around coaches, administrators, the fans. I mean, Jackson really showed a whole lot of love this weekend.
I appreciate it. It was good to be able to bring you home. Good stuff. Mike, how you doing?
Man, I'm good. I'm just kind of checking in and collecting all you brothers' stories who are on the road. I appreciate it. I do concur with, I am not from Mississippi. Let me be the first to admit, but I concur with Charles that Mississippi is a host state. Johnny D.
Me and Johnny T on first name basis. I call him Johnny. He calls me D.
I need to get my portrait there. No, a lot of good wins, a lot of good games. I thank David for providing kind of that insight. Sometimes you don't get a lot of intimate details of the game through just reading the stats and the summaries. So I appreciate that perspective, brother. So a lot of good games. I'm sure we'll get into them, but I'm ready to go.
Rick James. Some people out. Some people got to go. I don't know if they drinking the sorrows for Tuskegee or what, but boy, it knocked some folks out. It's like Charles had to do some babysitting, big brother love, as they call it.
I did.
Drew, how you doing?
Man.
I ain't gonna let you answer, Charles. I don't want you to get in no trouble. It was me. I said that. You didn't say that. That was me.
Yeah, when you have classics up in the Northeast and then you fly back the same day of the classics, it is a tiring.
Who told you to do that?
Well, this is when
Morehouse
admin. Everybody think this charter thing is really nice. It's not all that cracked up to be. It's late night.
You don't get to pick the times.
No, you gotta take whatever time is available.
They try to treat you right, but you get a little chicken boxes, chips, and soda. And they give you as much as you want. But look, apple here and there. But man, you dead tired. I can only imagine the athletes after playing, 4 hours. It's tough. But go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, and the thing was, I actually did not fly back on the team charter.
Well, you were right, Mike. He ain't got no excuse. What you talking about?
Wait, but hold up. I flew commercial, and because of what I had to do after the game and a wrap up and how fast that they had to leave to get back to the airport for the charter. So I flew commercial plus to open up a seat for another student to go along on this particular trip. But when you're outside MetLife Stadium waiting an hour to get a Uber or a Lyft to get back to the Newark airport, and because of the traffic patterns around the stadium after the game, and I'm looking at my watch like, all right, y'all, come on, I'm fixing and you know this New York / New Jersey. Everybody got a thing talking about. I'll run you to the airport for $50. I'll run you to the airport for $75. I'll run you to the airport for $100. All the cabbies as I like to call. I'm like, nah, man, I gotta have a receipt, man. I can't do this today, man. I gotta put this on the card. I gotta have this. I gotta have a receipt, man.
Yeah.
We give you a receipt. Nah, that I ain't trusting that, man. I'm waiting on this Uber so I can download it on the app when I go do my expense report on Monday.
Leaving MetLife is always an adventure. I've been there a few times.
Oh yeah.
Always an adventure.
As
I want to
traveling
go
to the East
around,
Coast,
and I want to make sure.
I hate leaving MetLife. That's an adventure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Charles, you want to add in there? You had to leave MetLife and not had fun.
I've had the adventure up there in New York as well. Yeah, leaving around a stadium in general. Listen, I had to leave Texas Southern Stadium the night that the Astros won Game 7 of the World Series, trying to catch an Uber. So that's a whole nother story right there.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
The worst I've ever seen is Gillette in Foxborough. There's one way in, one way out.
One way out.
Yeah.
One way in, one way out.
4 for 4. Quickly, so we can make sure we hit the top of this hour. I do want to ask everybody, what was the game that stood out? You don't have to break it down, but at least tell me which game stood out for you Saturday. Go ahead, Dave.
Go ahead, Dave.
One I attended last night.
Made that a little bit easy, huh?
That was too easy. I mean, I think the other things that stood out to me outside of those games, I was looking at the tickers for the other games while I was at A&T Hampton. Kentucky State, Grambling, FAMU, and Albany State. Them two games, I was losing my mind, and I ran into Tiffany Dawn Sykes, and we chopped it up for a little while. Former AD of FAMU, current AD of Virginia State, and we chopped it up. And I was telling her, I was like, these games have no business being close. Like, but they pulled it out. But I was kind of flabbergasted while I was in the stands watching A&T Hampton. So
I just want everybody to know, I'm gonna go to these guys to get their thoughts. But Charles said, watch out for the Albany game, and Drew said, watch out for the Kentucky State game. So you got experts here. So I agree with David. They were not supposed to be close, but these two guys told you keep your eyes on these matchups because they were looking at some things that were going funny. Let me go to you, Mike.
I picked Albany State to win, but I was kind of shocked of Kentucky State primarily.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people were, and they all but won the game. But credit to Grambling, they found a way. Quarterback got a little happy and slid earlier. I'm not even sure anything else after that takes place unless they're able to get a fumble somehow to do what they did at the end of the game. But with that being said,
they did get a fumble, Dr. Cavil.
Huh?
They did. There was a fumble.
That's
That's
a tease.
Having to be in overtime. You're exactly right, Mike. What were you looking at, Mike?
Oh, he touched on mine, but I'll touch on that Kentucky State game. If you watch, I watched part of that game. Kentucky State game had a chance to win that. They dominated time of possession. They had some quality possessions. They lost in overtime. But if you saw that game,
save it, Mike. Save it.
I know. But that game stuck out to me. And then I know David mentioned the Albany game, but we'll save that one. But the other one was Alabama A&M. You know,
my God.
Yeah, that one stuck out to me.
That's a good one. We were watching that one on the ESPN app up there in the press box, and we were just going back and forth. So, yeah, that was a really good one. Big win. Good win for Alabama A&M. Road win first year. Come back after jumping out there. Good win. I like the way you picked that one. It's a good one. Good ones y'all picking. Drew, where are you going?
How about the fact that the SIAC has won the conference series thanks to Edward Waters?
In classic?
Yeah.
How about that one?
Field goal. Good one, Drew.
Yes. Yeah. You know, I told y'all it was going to be something about that Duval Heat that was going to get to Virginia Union, and it allowed. I told you if it allows Edward Waters to remain close to the fourth quarter, you're going to have to lean with the Tigers, and that's what happened.
Yeah, you did.
Where
that was a classic
right.
one. And the SIAC was down 3-2. Won the last two, including Game 7, if you would, the seventh match, which was a classic, man. If you're talking about from, baseball or basketball, Game 7, that's the seventh game that you want to decide who gets to collect the proverbial, hypothetical, mythical, if you would, SIAC CIAA Challenge Trophy. and it goes to the SIAC after being in CIAA country last year where they dominated. SIAC does it in walk-off fashion, if you would, and they're getting it done. Boy, I tell you, that was pretty nice work there. Charles, what about you?
Yeah, y'all left no meat on the bone. Y'all took them all, but I will say this. I think Alabama A&M, Tennessee State, that's the one. Cornelius Brown threw for another 300-yard game. And then I will say this. Terenzo Quinn, if you have not heard of him, Jackson State's defensive coordinator, perk your ears up because he's going to be a hot name at the end of the year. What he's doing with his resume week in, week out, Jackson State's defense is for real, and it's going to make the SWAC East real fun in terms of these athletic quarterbacks over there in their conference trying to, get through this Jackson State defense because that is a championship level defense.
It's only going to be fun for the men in blue, Charles. It's not going to be fun for everybody else.
They are deep.
They're deep. Yeah,
that's
they're deep.
The thing that and obviously I don't even want to put out there, but they have deep. So if things go in a different direction, they still have folks in the toolbox that they can bring out for different reasons. So it'll be fascinating to see what that looks like. And I will say this, the East has always been the beast over the West, but hell, it looks like the East has become even deeper. Obviously, you got the king at the top of the mountain, but there's some couple of folks that are chugging, and I wonder if we'll see that in terms of our breakdown from the top 7. We'll see what that looks like after this next break. We'll come back on the other side. We're going to save that to the third segment, but we will break down last week's top 7 and show you officially what took place. Brian, thank you for getting your votes in. You did well. You did well. All of these gentlemen. David, start sending in your votes for the top 7 major division. You can do mid-major as well. So we can collect it. Shout out to Brandon. He got his in first time. So we got folks on the show that are doing the work to make sure you get the releases of the official Dr. Ville's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab major division, mid-major division football poll rankings. We'll do today's major division in the third segment. And then, as you know, on Tuesday, we unveil mid-major. Should be interesting. Number 1 went down. I want to see what people say about that. With that being said, stick with us. We'll be right back after we give you the top 7 team scores after this next break.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year, a title reserved for elite HBCU marching bands. A season-long competition that culminates in Atlanta on Friday, December 12th. Drum majors, percussion, drill, auxiliaries, musicality. All aspects will be examined by the toughest judges in the world of college bands. 4 will qualify for the big stage, where national champions will be crowned. Follow us on social media for rankings updates throughout the season. And join us in Atlanta on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
The Cavil Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cavil.
Get ready for the inaugural Unity Classic, Saturday, September 13th at Nathaniel Glover Community Field.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want to lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. We also have David L. Rhodes as well as Drew. That's AD Drew. The professors are in the building. Let the lecture begin when we break down these top 7 scores from last week. Let's get into the number 1 team in HBCU Major Division football. This is the last week's poll ranking. Let's see what these teams do. Let's get into number 1 that had a shutout. They brought in a historic program in Tuskegee. And they gave them the first loss of the year, 30-0. They shut them out. There were a couple of chances where Tuskegee slipped by and had a chance to make a big play there, but they couldn't get it done. And then when Jackson State kind of locked it down, all she wrote. Let's look at number 2 now. That is South Carolina State Bulldogs. This is an interesting matchup when you think about the score. I'm not sure anybody would have thought Bethune-Cookman would put up 41, but the thing is, South Carolina State, the Bulldogs did what they had to do because they put up 55, so they win by 14. Be interesting to see what the gentlemen say about that game possibly. In terms of number 3, also was in the action, and they were against mid-major in-state mid-major foe, which is the Golden Bears, who kind of fell off this year after changing coaching. A lot of those players seem to have went up the hill, if you would. That's north up the hill. But talking about the team down the hill is Alabama State. Number 3, the Hornets are looking really nice. 2-1 on the season as they improve. They defeat Miles 37-9 or 0-3. With that being said, let's go to number 4. North Carolina Central is in action, and they play their Division II team in-state foe, which is the Fayetteville State Broncos. They defeat the Florida State Broncos 49-19. North Carolina Central improves to 2-2 on the season, while Fayetteville State, the Broncos, fall to 0-3. On the mid-major level, that's intriguing for Fayetteville State. People were questioning where they're going to get back into action. I know it's early, but they're struggling a bit in terms of what that looks like. Let's keep going down the list because we also had number 5 playing in the matchup. Kind of a little bit about this in the opening segment. This was number 5, the Alabama A&M Bulldogs, going up to Nashville to play in the inaugural of a 4-game series in terms of the Legacy Series, I-65, if you would. The Bulldogs come back home with the Bengals' tails, 2-1. They nipped it out. They got it done. 23-21 was the final score as the Tennessee State Tigers fall to 1-2 on the season and have thus far lost HBCU matchups, with Bulldogs beating A&T Aggies that did rebound, as we talked about also in the segment. Let's turn the page and get to number 6. This is the only team that lost in the top 7 this week. They did play up to an FBS program. Rice, that is out of Houston, improved to 2-1, while the Panthers fall to 1-2. They're still 1-0 after electrifying opening season win over Texas Southern University. They're struggling a little bit now. They lost to Lamar, but that's a different conversation. We're talking about number 6 that falls 38-17 in the matchup against Rice. They did score force, but couldn't score enough and stop the Rice Owls that said hooty hoo. At number 7, we have none other than the Howard Bison against Morehouse. Intriguing for a minute, you had to scratch your head because you gave some credit to Morehouse as they were fighting, but the Bison pulled away. And as you kind of see throughout the theme in a lot of these matchups between major division and mid-major division between HBCU programs, if they are able to stay around later in the game, it seems like the major division programs are able to overcome and oftentimes pull away. We did have a close one, a couple of close ones in different parts of the game, particularly one of them down in Grambling, which will be interesting to see what that is. But this is regarding the top 7, the final one. The Howard Bison getting it done, improving to 2-1 as the Morehouse Maroon Tigers fall to 0-2. with that being said, let's get into a little discussion during this segment here. In terms of the top 7, anything stood out to you? Do you see some separations? Kind of go around and ask what's there. Let me start with you, Drew, in terms of the major division top 7 programs.
We went from a 0-7 week last week to a 6-1 this week. Way to rebound Dr. Cavil's top 7, because if we had another 0-7 week, Dr. Cavil, I was gonna make a motion that we scrap the poll for the rest of the season. But great way to rebound there. Way to get that message to your people to preserve the integrity of your poll.
Thank you.
Anyway, the one thing you notice between the FCS and Division II games was the FCSs, and we mentioned this, if they make mistakes and that these Division IIs hang around, these Division IIs were good enough to stay around. So in a couple of games that we had that situation, they hung around. And in other games, specifically the Jackson State Tuskegee game, the FCS imposed their will on the Division II team early and just took all thoughts of that out of their head. And in the case of the Howard Morehouse game, Morehouse looked good early against it, despite the fact Howard could physically dominate them, but Morehouse not able to take advantage of the opportunities. Morehouse was given short fields a couple of times in the first half, was not able to punch it in. And then on the flip side, they gave Howard a short field. Howard was able to punch it in. And I got to take this point of personal privilege before I pass it on to whoever's next up. Larry Scott, I love you to death, but I'm a little upset at that final score of 38-10. Score was 31-10 with under a minute to go. You got a first down inside the 10-yard line going in. 2 knees and we out of there. No, he wants to hand the ball off, and they scored. I'm a little upset about that last touchdown. Everything else I'm cool with, but there was no reason for that last touchdown. Because you're not gonna get any style points to beat Morehouse. I'm sorry.
Division. I agree with that. We've seen that a little bit. I think conference-wise, that's a different thing potentially when you talk about Alabama, A&M, and Alcorn. But yeah,
that's different.
That's a little challenge. Different. I see that. David, what are your thoughts in terms of top 7?
Alabama A&M beating Tennessee State was probably the big kicker for me. I think the big thing that I saw, because I was watching that game prior, the kickoff at A&T Hampton, and the big thing that I noticed was that, Alabama A&M was doing well at the beginning of the game, and then all of a sudden Tennessee State had this barrage of offense that occurred. And I'm thinking, this is going to be interesting. And then they didn't do anything else after that. They had their barrage of offense. They scored their 21 points, and you heard nothing else. And then Alabama A&M had chances to grind and finish it and got the job done. So shout out to them. Like we were talking about the SWAC East. I know going into the season, I thought it was going to be Jackson State and everybody else. And those Alabama schools got something else to say right now. So it's fascinating to watch.
Interesting. Since you been called to the table, Charles, go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing that jumps out for me is the quarterback play, especially in the SWAC East. Cornelius Brown, Andrew Body, FAMU got to scratch that itch last night with Jed Petty, but RJ Washington had a great game, 17 of 22. So, have quarterback, you got some championship aspirations, and then Jackson State, Jared Lockhart. Unfortunately or fortunately, he's going to be a name mentioned in a lot of barbershops this upcoming week or for the next 2 weeks.
Man, they couldn't even get out the stadium.
Exactly.
I like Charles. Are you calling offensive coordinator play? They going to you like you the GM.
Yeah, I know. It's funny, but the big thing is, Jackson State played a lot of freshmen. They are a very deep team, and I didn't get a real understanding of that until yesterday. And then this Jackson State defense, they go anaconda on Texas on Tuskegee. Only 109 total offense. They squeezed the life out of them. So, we've got some good football coming up over the next few weeks.
Yeah, week 5 is when it gets started in the SWAC in earnest, when you got all teams in the matchup. And a couple of weeks after that, you go into MEAC. We got our independence, if you would, but it'd be fascinating as they get further churning in their conference play. What does that look like? And that's coming up as well. Mike, where are you?
So let me start with the Alabama board, the Alabama teams. We talk about the wheat and the chaff, and there's a clear distinction. It's getting to where in the East there's not a clear, almost to the point that there may or may not be a clear distinction. If you look at how Alabama State and Alabama A&M playing, you look at Alabama A&M. Jack, with what? Tennessee State had one good quarter. That's it. And what was that word? The anaconda. Boy, that was an anaconda times short. They didn't score no more after that. So that I gotta say, let's go down 2-3 games in the year, and let's see how these Alabama A&M and Alabama State teams play. Number 2, I'm looking at Bethune. I'm looking at that game. You want to know who dominated?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Time of possession. You want to know that was about 1,000 yards of total offense. You want to know who had the most playoffs. We can get into all the data points, but was that a testament to a better Bethune offense, or was it a South Carolina State defense that just let down? Inquiring minds want to know, because that game was a lot closer than most people thought it would be. So that one stood out. As a matter of fact, Bethune had the ball 32 minutes, whereas South Carolina State had it about 26, 27. And if you look at it, Bethune had 3 turnovers. Minus those 3 turnovers, what would that game have looked like? That game was a lot closer, even with the score, than it appears to be. So the saving grace, Bethune scored 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. So
yeah, that's crazy.
My head's, what happened, ladies and gentlemen? What are we witnessing?
Young boys play.
That's exactly what happened. And I think that was probably a miscalculation by South Carolina State, letting them young boys play.
Off the gas, yeah.
Because the game was out of hand in the first half. I mean, out of hand.
Out of control, yes.
Oh, and forgive me, I said RJ Washington. I meant to say RJ Johnson. Forgive me on that revelation.
Yeah. I got a question, Charles. Thank Tuskegee for your attendance bump on this game. You did more than the 13,000. That's number 1. And number 2, fellas, what is it about former Southern quarterbacks when they leave Southern, they go off and actually play decent everywhere else but in Baton Rouge?
It's called a coach.
Question of the day.
I ain't touching
that. A QB coach.
So,
coach.
You don't do that. Don't do that. It's too early. Let him at least get through this week where he plays Jackson State. Then you can bring the ledge. We're gonna have the ledge segment, as we always do, because Charles said it's about time that we can enter that conversation. He wouldn't let us go there early, but now we slide into the season. He's sliding people on the ledge. With that being said, since you brought in the attendance, AD, I do want to say that the Alabama A&M and Tennessee State had over 10,000. So again, as you talk about attendance, go ahead, Mike.
I got talking about changing quarterbacks. Bethune changed quarterbacks, and also Southern brings in another quarterback. And I'm looking at the game, and I'm like, who is Ashton Struther? Where did he come from? So are we talking shades of 23-24, where Southern is now doing that parade of quarterbacks? I don't know. Bethune actually had a quarterback switch as well. So our team's getting to the point to where, we got the wrong quarterback in place. Prairie View did that last week, as you mentioned. So we're seeing kind of a little bit of a trend, a statistical trend. You know that is, AD, right? A statistical trend. I'm sorry. So anyway, where a few teams are, I don't know if it's the moment in the game. I don't know if it's the score or where they are in the series, but a few teams are starting to switch quarterbacks or change their philosophy to quarterback by committee. Just saying.
You know what they say about we have more than one quarterback.
That's why you do it in a non-conference and play who you need to play, because when them games count, you better have your man.
Listen,
You know what they say if you have more than one quarterback,
You have
You have none.
you
I
have
know
zero.
everybody falls in love with this second string, third string.
The
Listen,
backup.
the backup quarterback. They are the backup quarterback for a reason.
For a
Every
reason.
coach will tell you that.
Yeah, trust me.
Or you
These
could
folks
be
don't
at
wanna go to
7.
jobs. Let's take this next break and come back on the other side and talk about this new major division top 7. Let's see how it looks and those that are receiving votes and see if anybody dropped out. We'll be right back after this next break.
Get ready for the
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year, a title reserved for elite HBCU marching bands. A season-long competition that culminates in Atlanta on Friday, December 12th. Drum majors, percussion, drill, auxiliaries, musicality. All aspects will be examined by the toughest judges in the world of college bands. 4 will qualify for the big stage, where national champions will be crowned. Follow us on social media for rankings updates throughout the season. And join us in Atlanta on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a law, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with the gentleman here. Let's just jump right into it. Let's get into this top 7 and see what's going on. We have a new team in the top 7 as we go into rankings, week number 3, 9, 14, 25, top 7. Let's see who they are this week at number 7. Before we do that, I'm sorry, let me get those that dropped out. We do have a team that dropped out. Prairie A&M Panthers, although they played really well against FCS, other teams are playing better. They dropped below 500 as they're 1-2, still 1-0 in the conference play. That's who dropped out this week. Let's see who's receiving votes. Receiving votes, you have Grambling State Tigers after a miracle win by them, some would say. They are outside of the top 7. They are 2-1, 135 points, while Howard Bison actually gets the win and gets over 500 as well. They are 2-1, 129. Prairie A&M, the only one outside of the 500 mark, is they're 1-2 after the loss against Rice, as we said. That gives you those that are receiving votes for your collective top 10 essentially. Let's go to number 7. That's the new team in the poll. Coach Jackson has the Hornets buzzing. That's not the Hornets of Montgomery. This is the Hornets of Delaware out of the MEAC. Delaware State Hornets. I don't know when the last time they've been in the top 7, but they are official 2-1, 156. They were not ranked last week. Coach Jackson has the Hornets seriously. They're buzzing. They look pretty good. We'll see what that means for the rest of the season and certainly into the MEAC race. At number 6, we have none other than the Howard Bison. They've quietly continued to churn. They move up a spot, 2-1, after they get the win in the NYU Classic. 159 points as they're in the mix, moving up a spot. Bring us to number 5, the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. They were ranked last week. They were actually at number 5. They stayed there. And you'll kind of see a refrain. I'm not sure if there's a lot of changes here, maybe in some votes, but let's finish it out and see what that looks like. As you have Alabama A&M has improved to 2-1, big win on the road at Tennessee State to get it done in the Legacy Series. At number 4, North Carolina Central Eagles sit at 2-2. One first place vote. They're still hanging on to the first place vote. Somebody thinks really highly of the Eagles.
Who is that?
Josh.
Who is that? Who is that? Who is that one person? Always got to be one.
They do have a big game this weekend, some would say, against North Carolina A&T that are feeling good about themselves. So that'll make it a little more interesting. After you check out Brian and AD in the sports wrap, make sure you go and check out HBCU Nightly, because I'm sure they'll get a little bit into that after they give you some updates and thoughts on what took place this weekend. All the HBCU talk you can get. At number 3, though, we have the Alabama State Hornets. I'd imagine some people probably feel they need to be higher than this, but we'll see what the gentlemen say officially. But they stay in the 3 spot. 2 first place votes, 2-1 on the season, as they continue to sting themselves. And number 2, you have South Carolina State Bulldogs 2-1. They did win the game, pulling away, but depending on how you watch that, I can see how you might change your mind around where they should be ranked. In fact, somebody took them out of the number 1 spot. They lost the first place vote as they just have 2 now, falling 1 behind there, which means number 1 remains that way. And the Jackson State Tigers, they continue to get it done. They're adding up these weeks that they're at number 1. They've been there for a minute since last October, it seems, as they got rolling, ended with a national championship. Seems like they'll be in the mix and have something to say. About 11 weeks in a row. If you go back to that time, you have number 1 Jackson State Tigers in terms of that. Let me ask everybody and go get their thoughts on the top 7. Let's start with you, Mike.
Yeah. So this has been another record. This has been 3 weeks where I agree with your poll. There will not be a week 4.
There might be.
There's some corrections here. North Carolina Central, Delaware State should be higher than Howard. Quality wins, body of work to this point. Delaware State, do we remember who they beat last week? And then they come back, follow it up with a performance this week. There was nothing questionable about it. Both Alabama teams should be 3 and 4. If you look at what they've done, who they played, and the manner of which they played. I don't have a problem with Alabama State being 3. Agreed. You got Jackson State. The first 3 are okay. But I disagree with North Carolina Central being above Alabama A&M. Now, next week may tell a different story, and the week after that may tell a different story. But Alabama A&M has played solid enough with their quality wins to me to be a solid 4, and you could throw Delaware State up there as well.
Good stuff. Week to week. You're right. I like that mindset. I'll take that, Mike. That's good stuff. Charles, what are your thoughts in terms of the top 7?
I was going to chafe a little bit at Howard, but I think I think that's right with regards to them being at 6. Shout out to Delaware State. Like you said, we're kind of mid-September and we're talking Delaware State football. That's new. So shout out to Deshaun Jackson. I mean, that's huge. A big win.
Give somebody a shout out and then give them a shot.
Yeah, I know, right? I know.
Shots fired.
I mean, we've been talking Marquise Gillis the past few weeks, but yesterday, I mean, big game out of James Jones for Delaware State, rushing for 100 yards. So that's huge for them. So we'll see if they can continue the momentum. I have no issues probably with the first 4. For me, eyeball test, even though they're 2-2 on the season, North Carolina Central in front of Alabama State until I get a little more data with regards to Alabama State. I know we're all drinking the Kool-Aid right now, but they're a phenomenal football team. Andrew Body, 14 of 16 yesterday, very efficient. They did what they needed to do with Miles yesterday.
Good stuff. Good stuff. David?
I'm flipping 4 and 5, and I'm flipping 6 and 7. Like, I felt like Delaware State's a top 5 team, but the way the Alabama A&M is playing, I'm going to have to keep them in the top 5. But I'm flipping. I think it's kind of wild to watch this poll where a lot of folks had Howard and Delaware State at the bottom of the MEAC, and they rightfully so should be in this top 7 because they're playing better than everybody else right now. But I think what Deshaun Jackson's doing down in Delaware is amazing right now. Yeah. It's amazing what he's doing down there. For them to beat Albany, which I know Albany's not supposed to be the top of the heap in the CAA. However, it's still a strong conference, right? So to get that type of win, the out-of-conference wins are hard to come by as a whole.
Yeah.
From an FCS perspective, I think that counts for something. So I would flip Delaware State and Howard. Like, we got Morgan State, they can't beat Townsend. They haven't been able to beat Townsend in over almost 15 years. So, like, when you take all those things into account, I would put Delaware State higher. But this poll, man, it's going to be a lot of shifting over the next couple of weeks, particularly when we get back into conference play.
Yeah.
Interesting. Things will change in the near future when they start to collide.
Mm-hmm.
To your point, you have all those teams in the MEAC, and they got to play each other. And the teams representing the SWAC are all in the East. Ugh. Drew?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Woo.
Here's the controversy.
Okay.
Week to week poll.
True.
South Carolina State should be ahead of Jackson State. South Carolina State has not played a Division II yet.
Good
and
point.
they have 2 wins. Jackson State, one of their 2 wins is against a Division II. So just based on strength of schedule, South Carolina State has better quality wins this season than Jackson State. I know Jackson State is the reigning number 1. You're number 1 until you lose. But if you just look at the data, South Carolina State is ahead of Jackson State. I'm going to take it one step further.
Okay.
Alabama State's 2 wins are
Mhm.
against light levels. So if you just go by that argument, Jackson
It's
State
a
is
fall.
number 3
So you
behind
have
South Carolina
man.
State.
Now this is
And wait,
Oh.
No, AD, it's
almost
fine.
blowing it
It's
up.
fine.
hold up.
Put it in the pot.
Whoa.
Wow.
I'm not done. Keeping that same
Yeah.
philosophy.
Down
Alabama
the road.
A&M goes above Jackson State because neither one of their wins
Get out my
are
seat.
in
Hey.
a Division II.
AD, do me a
Just-
favor. Just drop them out the poll. It works. It works.
Hey, well, actually, if you want to go that far, if you want to go that far, that means the school down the road needs to drop 2. They only got 1 Division I win, FCS win as well. You want to keep it a bean?
That's what I'm getting at. It's just if you use the strength of schedule argument. Jackson State is not your number 1. And look at them going off in the chat rooms, y'all. Look at them going off in the chat.
Keep
Yeah.
that
But
same energy. I love it.
but Dr. Cavil,
This is fun.
you're a dean. What
I'll try to
is
be
it?
gentle today.
Can you defend
That's
your
why I had to
argument
cut
in
you off.
front of the
Trying to be
class?
nice.
Cooking.
I was
You
trying
are
to.
cooking.
I am
Bill told me to be
defending my
nice. I was trying to
argument
be
in
nice.
front of the class.
AD,
The strength of
turn your
schedule
X off. Turn your X off. Turn your Twitter off. I'm trying to save your timeline.
Yeah.
I love that
Lady
energy.
Drew has Jackson State at what 4 or 5?
I mean,
6,
just on that
7.
schedule argument. Just on the strength of schedule.
Hell, he
argument.
done dropped him out the poll. Go ahead, AD. I love it.
Oh, good stuff, lady. Seriously,
Not that I
good stuff.
disagree with him though.
No, but your point.
I mean, A&T's got as many Division I wins as some of these schools on this poll, though. I'm just saying. And we're first in the CAA right now. Just saying.
That's
saying.
because y'all the only ones play the game.
No, we know there's others who already play conference games. I'm just having fun with y'all tonight.
David, you gonna go from not winning an FCS game since 2023 that you want to be in the top 7 poll? Now this is some great dialogue.
Listen.
I've heard Aggies delusional. Aggies have Aggie pride, but my goodness, you talking about showing
I mean,
off.
that pride,
Let's take
that
that's
pride was
good
on
stuff,
display.
good stuff.
How many Aggie prides and G-Hoes and G-whatevers did you hear last night?
G-Ho.
G-whatever.
Let's
You gotta
take
pull
our
up,
next
Mike.
break. We'll
You gotta
come back
pull up,
on the
Mike.
other side, and we'll talk about some of these matchups from the top 7 or any other game that these gentlemen want you to keep your eyes on in week number 4. We'll be right back after this last break. Great dialogue, gentlemen.
Greetings, Staffers. My name is Roland Austin, and I'm one of the directors at the 1876 Athletic Foundation. The 1876 Athletic Foundation was formed to promote the success of all 343 student athletes. Our overall goal is to fund scholarships for all of our student athletes. We ask that you help us in achieving this goal by donating to the 1876 Athletic Foundation via the QR code below or 1876.foundation. Your generous donation will help us continue to assist the needs of all of our Panther athletes. Thanks, and go Panthers.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Great dialogue, gentlemen. You all have the chat popping like It's a popcorn machine, boy. I tell you,
Now,
at the
I'm not gonna
movies
let you put
on
that on
Saturday
anybody else,
night.
Doc.
It
That's
is hot
100%
in
me.
there. Good job. Great dialogue. Great points made. Although Drew doesn't see it like this, we're going to look at the top 7 teams and what they do this week.
They
And
in the
maybe it
top
would have been
7.
more intriguing if we went through AD's framework, because the top 3 teams actually do not play this week. As we have Jackson State is off, South Carolina State is off, and Alabama State is off. That's correct, Drew. Go ahead and go into the 4th seeded North Carolina Centrals. They're the team that faces off. This is a classic matchup in many different ways. And you have the number 4 ranked Eagles going on the road in terms of at least the home team being North Carolina A&T State, the Aggies. The Central Eagles come in at 2-2, while the Aggies come in at 1-2, 1-0 in the CAA, NEAC CAA matchup. Let's go to number 5. The next matchup brings in the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs are back in action. They take on a Division II program, a Lane program that is struggling. Lane is 0-2 and 0-1. So the Alabama A&M Bulldogs are at home, and they come in 2-1. I don't see them having a problem with this game. Continue as we continue down the matchups. They're number 6, if you would. Howard Bison are open this week, but we do have number 7 play. And this is the FCS matchup. Intriguing here, St. Francis Red Flash. If you remember during the basketball season, this is the Red Flash, after winning the conference championship of the NEC, stated that they were moving to Division III. And right now they're taking it on the chin as a football program, as they're 0-3, 0-1. So this is another chance for Delaware State to continue their winning ways. This is one they need if they're going to show that they've turned the corner. They got to find a way to win these type of games. They should, but we'll see what happens, because this is a game of football. Delaware State is hosting the Red Flash of St. Francis. That's the top 7. We got a couple of teams outside of that, though. In terms of those receiving votes, we're going to rank them in terms of how they receive the votes outside of the top 7. So you have another FCS matchup, Southland, that has really taken it to the SWAC, and we have a couple of these Southland matchups. East Texas A&M Lions, they're 0-2 coming into this game. They had a Grambling State that had a thrilling win that is 1-1, if you would. It should be
2-1.
2-1. Number 8 there. So fascinating to see what that looks like. Let's get into number 9. We have the battle of the HU. Fascinating. Is this finally the time when Howard can get the win? Hampton, no matter what they're doing, how they play, they seem to find a way to beat Howard. But Hampton has actually struggled against their HBCU opponents, which has been different over the last couple of years. Hampton Pirates do come in at 1-2, 0-1. They're at Howard Bison, as Howard is the home team. It is in Washington, D.C., Audi Field, as a classic there. And Howard comes in at number 9. Usually it doesn't matter, but we'll see what it looks like there. Then we have the other Southland SWAC matchup, if you would. Northwestern State Demons that come in at 1-2, 1-0. Got that win against another SWAC foe where they stopped their losing streak, talking about the A&T Aggies. Northwestern State got it done, as they are 1-2 and should have no games for conference play at this point. But you have Prairie View and Panthers that are 1-2 and 1-0 after a tough loss to Rice. They come in number 10 spot. We have one more game on the radar. Let me get in here that features a mid-major team and a major division team. The team is not ranked, but this is the Edward Wilder Tigers that were ranked last week at number 5. We'll unveil what they are this week, but you should have a lot of interest in the ranking for mid-major. Virginia Union has held that spot since last year, but they went on the road in a classic matchup that had a lot of energy, a lot of talk. And while it went to the wire, the Edward Wilder Tigers got it done. They took down the number 1 ranked team. So I'm fascinated to see as we kind of get ahead of ourselves in terms of this mid-major major. Remember, Bethune-Cookman last year had a loss to Clark Atlanta Panthers that some people talked about. That may happen, but winning got done, particularly on a field goal to end the game. I think a lot of people have some interest in that. People probably will say Edward Waters, but Bethune-Cookman did put up 41 points. Fascinating to see what this looks like. As we close on this segment, I want to go to everybody and say, any of these matches have you excited? Or are you going off the board to another matchup? You have that at your disposal. Let me go around. I'm going to start with you, Charles, as you kind of shook your head. So I think you might go in a different direction. So I'm going to allow you to do that. Tell me what's on your mind in week number 4 for the major division. Obviously, week number 3 for the mid-major division. But it's your world. Tell me your thoughts.
Yeah, I think if you're a Prairie View fan, you get to find your favorite Alcorn fan and let them know that you get to be Swag West daddy. You will take care of what they couldn't. So I would be finding that Alcorn fan. So that's going to be an interesting matchup to me with Prairie View hosting. Listen, Grambling, I can't keep you off the ledge if this week. Woo! Because I'm just not seeing anything that really would make me think that Grambling is going to be a contender in the West right now, and I thought that would not be the case. So without some heroics from Xavier T-Set last night, you fall to Kentucky State. So this is an absolute ledge week for the Grambling Tigers.
Good stuff. Anybody else on the ledge, Charles?
Anybody else on the ledge? Yeah, I mean, Southern is definitely on the ledge. They still, did they find a quarterback last night? The jury's still out, but they got a couple of weeks.
We'll put Southern on the ledge for 2 weeks. They don't even play next week. That's cold blooded.
Yeah, I mean, they got.
They just gonna be sitting on that ledge waiting for 2 weeks.
Hey, they got 2 weeks to think about it. They on the ledge. He's right.
and you give it to Lorenzo Quinn 2 weeks to prepare for Southern. So.
Oh, there it is. Mike, since you jumped out of there, tell me in terms of any of these games or one off the board you're looking at, and then tell me who's
obviously, Prairie View, they have Northwestern State, and we'll see if they can do what Alcorn State couldn't do. That's a head scratcher. Grambling State, on a normal year, I would say, East Texas A&M should be a win, but I'm scratching my head saying, how competitive is this game going to be? Different conversation. To me, that's a data point. And then Hampton-Howard game. I don't care what the record you say. They got to go to D.C. But I've seen Hampton play.
Yeah.
And there's a worry. That may not be an automatic win. That's going to be a barn burner. That game really stands out to me. And then the other one is, up to this point, we have not talked about A&T up until this weekend. They got Central. Who's going?
It's the classic.
That's a big money game.
Classic.
So those 4 games stick out to me, Doc. I know you asked for one. I'm gonna leave the D2 to my good friend AD. There is one D2. I know he'll get it. So I'm gonna leave meat on the bone for you, AD, because I love you like that.
You see how we do it?
That little teacup you sipping or whatever you sipping. So.
You see how we leave meat on the bone for you? You see how we
leave meat on the bone for my colleague.
And see, I wouldn't even go with that game, but since you guys
I was, so don't worry.
To that game, I mean, Coach Brian Jenkins going home. I've said this before.
I didn't think about that part. You right.
This is the Brian Jenkins that I could not stand when he was at that school on the beach,
right?
Because he is the sole reason that 9-year streak against my Rattlers started. So this is going to be interesting, and that, let's be real, Jenkins should not have been forced out of the door at Bethune-Cookman, but we gonna leave that one where it is. All right, now
that's good stuff.
Another one that's tickling my fancy, and this is go get David fired up, is now we can actually have a legitimate conversation about the Aggie Eagle Classic, because until Saturday, that was just a courtesy mention that you was going to have to do on that game. Now we can actually get to a discussion. So here's my discussion point. Although North Carolina Central is outgaining A&T on the season offensively, But defensively, Central is giving up just as many yards as they are gaining. And when you look at A&T statistically, neither one of them can stop running water because they are both defensively giving up a lot of yards. So I'm expecting this game to put up 80 plus points between the two because neither one of these teams look like they can stop anybody. And the last one, going back to the Battle of the Rear HU, and I mentioned this to them, to some of the people in the press box on yesterday. Can y'all finally get a damn W, Howard? Please get a win.
Hey, A&T broke the streak. Well, come on, Howard.
We did it before Howard could.
Hey, David. Hey, David.
Go ahead, David. Perfect way to jump in here. Give me your thoughts in terms of key matchups. Are you sticking with it or are you going off the board, which I certainly could understand why?
Well, one thing about the Aggie Eagle Classic is, although the result last year was lopsided, a lot of times you have those games. We've done it. We had 10 straight quarters that they didn't score a point, but I think this was going to be a lot different. I think this is going to be a lot closer. It's going to be in Greensboro. It's going to be a different type of atmosphere coming into Saturday. So this is going to be a different ball game. Defensively, we both have our struggles. I think we got some pretty good guys on the defensive side of the ball that are pretty talented. So it's going to be fascinating to see. Walker Harris has been struggling a little bit. He probably had a get-back game against Fayetteville State last week, but he's been struggling a little bit against these FCS opponents outside of Southern. So it's going to be fascinating to see how that game goes. But I want to go to Howard and Hampton. We're talking about ledges and who's going to be on the ledge. If Hampton loses to Howard, that they might jump. They might jump because they were already
following the Indy Wednesday show will get ugly.
I'm telling you, they were already walking towards the ledge after barely beating Elizabeth City State. Right. They blew a 10-game lead against us with a minute left of the game last night. They're pretty much at the tip of the edge. They will jump if they lose to Howard on Saturday. They will hop. They're gonna go ahead and jump off that ledge at that point.
They're gonna do a
swan dive.
David, what was up, man? Yeah. Y'all had a whole lot of extra energy last night, man. Y'all all across on the field.
Let me tell you something, man. The wild thing was, like, y'all weren't at the game, but like when Hampton was up 10, the band was actually trying to be disrespectful too. And it was hilarious to watch. It was hilarious to watch because as soon as we threw the touchdown pass, the band didn't play a single note again until the fifth quarter. But I commend the marching force because I ain't seen that in them in a long time. So I commend them for trying to be disrespectful, and then it backfired pretty good.
Get smack talk, boy. Marching sport is going on. Good stuff, David. Mike, who you say is on the ledge besides Southern? Is that the only team you putting up there?
No, if Grambling does not have a good showing,
ledge,
even though they won.
You gonna put the state of Louisiana on the ledge?
Yes, absolutely. The state of Louisiana. As a matter of fact, I heard the president is going for emergency funds because that just may happen. So you may have potentially two teams that are on the ledge.
Well, they'll say they get right in conference play. Drew?
If we want to talk about states, even though this is a Woosah week for the Florida A&M Rattlers, let Bethune lose to Edward Waters, and the state of Florida might start heading towards the ledge also because
they might.
FAMU is all, despite the win, FAMU. See, the thing with they beat Albany State, they just didn't move one way or the other. They still in the same spot as they was last week with the ledge. One step to the left, they over. One step to the right, they coming back towards civilization. But the struggles against Albany State just let FAMU stagnant. We just gonna leave it like that.
Y'all stagnant on that. Y'all stagnant.
But a loss by Bethune to their Division II little brothers will push the whole state of Florida off the ledge.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Drew. I think they're gonna do it, man. I think Aurora can do it.
I think
they're gonna do it, man.
And I agree with Hampton one. I agree with Hampton.
I will say this about that game. I think we were talking about how many points that Bethune-Cookman scored against South Carolina State. We're gonna find out if them points are real or not on Saturday.
Exactly.
We're going to find out on Saturday.
It might have been a sugar high. We'll see.
I'm telling you.
Charles, you were nice today, so I'm going to let you have a final thought here.
Well, yeah, I mean, I take a look at some of these, that Aggie-Eagle matchup. I'm looking forward to that. I think that'll be a great one. As I mentioned, I think Grambling, you get an opportunity to try to do it out of conference. So we need to see some better data points.
They did beat East Texas last year. It was at home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is a huge weekend, I think, for the Grambling Tigers because, by all accounts last night watching that game, to get the W, that was huge for Grambling because they were teeter-tottering on the edge. If Kentucky State's quarterback does not slide 2 yards short of that first down, that game is over. It doesn't get to overtime. Credit Grambling for a final drive to get them to overtime, but should it have been that close?
Against
Credit
Kentucky
Grambling
State,
was a NAIA and a Division II school, so let's give them all their credit.
State.
That's the thing for me, man. Like we were talking about what Jackson State did to Tuskegee. Like when we play Division II programs, that's what we should be seeing.
Yeah,
we shouldn't be seeing these games that are very, very close.
That is your measuring stick.
Yeah, we should not see that. We should not see this. So when I'm watching this on the ticker, I'm losing my mind. Like I'm literally losing my mind.
It's a little different from Charles when I'm in the press box and Charles is picking on the play-by-play guy. Picking on the band. He's walking around, taking breaks. He disappearing for 20 minutes. I said, yeah, he having fun over here, boy.
I was gonna say I know this is the major division show, but shout out to Clark Atlanta and Fort Valley for a great game on on Thursday night.
Absolutely.
And but I've got to throw the butt
Rat
out
poison?
there.
Rat poison?
I don't know about all that, but the fact that the SIEC has replay now. And on that fourth down with under a minute to go, they did not go to replay. Although I thought the call was right. Don't get me wrong. I thought the call was right live. You still, for fans' perspective, you need to go to replay to confirm it so that we're not talking about it on these shows. Just like yesterday with the Grambling Kentucky State game, that play should have gone to replay. I don't know.
You got to call your connects with give us an explanation of what went on there. I think they got it right. I just think they should have blown that whistle. But since they
but even still on that play,
what they need to do, they play forward because he certainly will stop.
But right or wrong, go to replay. That way, the fans are confident in the abilities of the referee. Let the video confirm.
No, I agree with you on yours. I was switching back to the Grambling, and they did go to replay on that one to their credit. But I think they could not hear any type of whistle and could not see any discernible. They did say that they thought one ref waved the hand, but I don't think it was discernible. So they had to let the play stand. I would have liked to seen that just from the fact that it was on television. And you talking about adding drama to it. It was already drama filled. But imagine them going to the replay, the talk that's going on when they're going through it. Then they come back and confirm what took place, and you have that delayed reaction of Clark Atlanta cheering again. That would have been beautiful TV. But shout out to the SIEC, Dr. Holloman, the presidents at Clark Atlanta University in Fort Valley State, in terms of that was a tremendous game. Clark Atlanta looks like they're back in the football business. I tried to tell you all a couple of years ago to watch out at Clark Atlanta and what they could do in terms if they get a little more energy in that house, and you certainly look like Coach Teddy Keaton is delivering on what he wanted to do with Clark Atlanta because they are excited by some football. Dr. French, as the president there, certainly is one of those presidents that galvanizes students in terms of excitement. So shout out to what they're doing at Clark Atlanta University. I love it. SWAC TV, good note by G-Boom. SWAC TV continues to be a measuring stick. We heard the numbers from the lecture series, HBCU Sports lecture series, and boy, week early, and we haven't even really got into conference play. If there's any indication, boy, SWAC TV is in good position as you get those data points. Go check out some of those updates, and we'll send them to you as well. Let's close it here. Thank you for listening inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, comes from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports. with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Also, David L. Rhodes, that is hosting the Indy Report as he brings in Hampton and Tennessee State. As they get it done, shout out to Brandon as he dropped another article. If you get a chance, go to sneakershop.talk.com and check out his article in terms of continuing talk about Tennessee State and expansion of the SWAC. Intriguing. He set it up where there are five historical, or if you would, rivalry games for each team. You break it down where you go to a 9-conference schedule and you rotate everybody out and you see everybody in 4 years. So fascinating how you broke it down. Similar to what you heard with the expansion of SEC going to 9 games. Drew, good stuff. Look forward to see you and Brian tonight. With that being said, again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock. Sunday at 9 a.m. as we unveil the major division and give you a breakdown of what took place on Saturday. That's really Thursday through Saturday as AD illustrated with Clark Atlanta. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, on Threads, Facebook, and Instagram, DrKenyattaCavil. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook, Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Dream big, continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles.
Course.
Mike.
Lecture.
David and Drew.
Dismissed.
Travel light, everybody.
Yeah.